Okay, Joe Casey with Casey Aviation, and yesterday I had a really strange event. I had an engine failure in this Malibu. Now, thank the Lord, it was a fairly benign engine failure. I was only like 50 feet over the runway on landing whenever it occurred, but I wanted to highlight what happened and how it happened. And the how it happened is because right down here, this is a Continental Malibu, and the Continental Malibu has this fuel line that comes in. And this is the main fuel line, and then between where this baffling is at, there's a fitting right here so it can go through the baffling and then onto the engine. But what happened is this flanged fitting right here, or this B fitting as some people call it, was just finger tight. And matter of fact, you can see this one right here is just finger tight as well. And this is the return line that goes back to the fuel tank. The reason why this was out is because this vacuum pump was replaced here real recently. And so to replace this vacuum pump, you have to pull this fuel line off. And so when this fuel line was pulled off, when it was put back on, this flange fitting was not tightened down or torqued down properly. And when that's the case, as this began to unscrew, began to back out, and now I began to have fuel leaking all over the engine. So whenever I was in flight, I had a higher CHT and I had a lower fuel flow than normal, and thank the Lord that it came to fruition at 50 feet over the runway, where the engine just finally didn't have enough fuel. Very dangerous situation for two things: number one, for an engine failure, and number two, because I'm spraying fuel all over the engine as soon as I hit any kind of fuel pump, which I did on the runway. I hit the prime pump to keep it running, so anyway, because I didn't know I had this issue in flight. I just knew I had an engine that failed. So kind of a dangerous event, and one that I don't want to repeat, but I want all the Continental owners to be able to do a pre-flight on that fitting right there, and this return fitting as well. If you ever have a vacuum pump replaced or anything, this is just a good fitting to make sure that you pre-flight whenever the cowl's off. Okay, Joe Casey with Casey Aviation, signing off.